Hello everyone, this is the last video of week 2. So far, in all our examples in this chapter, we have assumed that cash flow occurs only once in a year. This is sometimes the case. For example, in France and Germany, the government bond pays interest on bonds annually. So you get interest once in a year. However, in the United States and Britain, government bonds pays interest semi-annually. So if the interest rate on a US government bond is quoted as 10%, the investor in practice receives interest of 5% in every 6 months. So 5% in the first 6 months and 5% in the second 6 months. Now, if the first interest payment is made at the end of 6 months, you can earn an additional 6 months interest on this payment. Okay, so for example, let's say that you invest $100 in a bond that pays 10% compounded semi-annually. So your wealth will grow to 1.05 into 100 equal to 105 at the end of 6 months, right? And then 1.05 into 105 equal to 110.25 by the end of the year. So what does it mean? It means that an interest rate of 10% compounded semi-annually is equivalent to this 10.25% compounded annually. Okay, so this is basically the effective interest rate. Effective interest rate on the bond, you can see, is 10.25%. So here comes the difference between the effective interest rate and the annual percentage rate. So when we say effective interest rate, it means that interest rate is annualized using a compound interest, and annual percentage rate is it's annualized using the simple interest. Okay, so in effective annual interest rate, you get interest more frequently than annual, and then it is annualized using this compound interest concept. For example, you got here an annual percentage rate, you may get interest more frequently than a year. However, that's annualized considering simple interest. So considering that interest is not earned on interest amount. An example will more clarify this. So annual percentage rate. Let's say you receive interest on a monthly basis. So this is your monthly interest. You multiply it by 12, you get annual percentage rate. Am I right? Let's say you get a monthly interest of 1% and this is 12 months. So your annual percentage rate will be simply 12%. So you can see 1% monthly multiplied by 12. So it is not considering compounding. It's not considering that interest is earned on interest also. Now, the effective annual rate is if you earn an interest of 1%, if you use this formula, this effective interest rate will be definitely greater than 12%. Why greater than 12%? Because you earn 1% in first month, so that will generate some return for the rest of the period. You earn another 1%, that will generate a return for the rest of the months in the year. So in the case of effective annual rate, it will be must be greater than the annual percentage rate. So look at here. Given a monthly interest rate of 1%, what is the effective annual rate and what is the annual percentage rate? You can see that the effective annual rate is simply 12% that I have been showing you, and effective annual rate is 12.68%, because when we calculate effective annual rate, we consider that when interest is earned, that earns interest for the subsequent period. However, in annual percentage rate, when interest is earned, that does not earn interest for the subsequent period. Interest is earned only on the principal amount. So that's the end of our discussion on simple and effective interest rate. Thank you very much.